greetings. It is plain for all to see that the world is filled with change, chaos, and confusion, but in spite of it, the old familiar ways of dealing with these issues die hard. Commonly accepted solutions of the past remain ingrained in the collective belief system and continue to influence those in positions of power even as they fail in the presence of a rising consciousness on Earth. New and higher frequencies simply cannot be made to fit into molds created to accommodate the denser energies of duality and separation. As the energetic frequencies of Earth rise, ideas and beliefs still in alignment with the old will not be in alignment with the new unfolding belief system. This lack of alignment will cause many tried and true ways of resolving issues to fail simply because the substance energy that has sustained them in the past will no longer exist. Never forget that consciousness, the substance of form, and the unfolding spiritual awareness of increasingly more individuals will serve to automatically bring about new and higher forms of everything in all areas of life on Earth. Recognize and resist the temptation to recreate something in your life that feels complete or finished, even if it was a happy period of your life. Follow your inner guidance with courage when it tells you that it is time to move on, for often the pressure to recreate or keep something going that is finished comes from others, friends, family, or even some religious group. There are some who thrive on the glories of the past, reliving them to self and others while seeking to keep them alive through groups, clubs, and periodicals that focus on the particular time or events being glorified. This statement is not meant to denigrate the bravery or fruitful experiences of the past which will always be with you, but is to help you understand that living in the past is a backward step, dear ones, regardless of how seemingly better the old days may seem in comparison with today. Evolution is the ongoing journey every soul makes through the good and not so good experiences of many lifetimes in order to finally reach a point at which they are ready to awaken into a realization of oneness. Spiritual evolution can never be controlled, stopped, or governed by human thinking, no matter how seeming better or worse the experiences of some earlier time were. Be patient with the process, dear ones, for the new cannot appear overnight. That which is well established in the human belief system can only gradually dissolve, being met with resistance and fear by those comfortable with the status quo. There are many who continue to rely on three-dimensional or religious opinions and beliefs about life regardless of how painful their personal situation may have become. This is particularly true with regard to relationships. You have reached a place of spiritual readiness enabling you to stand back as a beholder rather than someone constantly struggling to heal, change, or fix self and others with outgrown tools. This does not mean you will never again be guided to use ordinary methods to alleviate the suffering of someone, but means that while doing it you remain aware that in the reality of one nothing needs healing, changing, or fixing. Many of you have or soon will attain a spiritual level that is ready to accept and integrate the fact that all qualities embodied in God, Source, I Am, aren't always have been fully present within you. Seeking divine qualities, completeness, wholeness, harmony, abundance, intelligence, etc. outside of self rather than from within where they exist in their fullness is the result of the belief in two powers that brought about the duality and separation that constitutes third-dimensional energy. This does not mean that serious spiritual students must never take the human footsteps that may assist him at some point, but does mean that the footsteps are taken with spiritual awareness and trusting intuition as to when they are no longer needed. Creations formed out of three-dimensional beliefs, rituals, and concepts will always contain elements of duality and separation that result in the creation being sometimes successful and sometimes not. This is why so often sincere hard work and dreams fail, having been created from energies based in duality and separation, which is all that is available to the unaware. When you go within and allow yourself to rest in the reality of you, you open the door to all that the real you is. Never forget that your oneness with Source automatically constitutes your oneness with all that Source is. Meditation is a silent listening for the still, small voice which you may or may not actually hear, because this is not the goal of meditation. There may come a knowing about something rather than words. It is an individual's intention to align, listen, and rest in an awareness of oneness that is important. You never need to tell IT what you need or want, because IT is you. Using meditation as a time to relate a list of wants and needs indicates a belief in separation. Everything you have been seeking is already fully present, because IT is you, not the human concept of you, but the real you. Divine consciousness is individualized. Meditation is a silent resting in the awareness of your completeness, and no words or thoughts are needed. Thoughts of all kinds will come floating by, but do not resist or make a power out of them. Simply allow these thoughts to drift through and back out again without focusing on them while you rest in oneness. Ponder and practices every truth you become aware of until it shifts from being intellectual knowledge to being your state of consciousness. Many of the ordinary problems and the issues of daily living will begin to automatically fade out of your experience without you even noticing, as you live each day silently resting in and aligning with the reality of your own divine selfhood. Consciousness is the substance of form, because consciousness is all that exists. It is omnipresent. Every person's state of consciousness, the one divine consciousness individualized, manifests as their life and experiences. If a person's consciousness is filled with beliefs of duality and separation, then that is what they will create. You are creators because you are God beings having a human experience in the presence of realized truth, not intellectual knowledge, not words in a book, not some repeated mantra. The unreal simply does not, cannot exist, and will create forms that reflect the substance of pure divine consciousness. Those of you that align with these messages or any mystical teachings of oneness are ready, beyond ready, to allow meditation to be what it is meant to be, conscious alignment with the already fully present I Am that you are. Many of you have been knowing the truth and meditating for a long time, but continue to think of yourselves as separate from it and spend meditation periods seeking it. There comes a point where each must accept that they already are it in order to be it. Go within, often not to speak, try to create, force something to happen, or to seek some perceived outcome, but rather to simply align with it. Do not attempt to understand what it is, for the human mind is incapable of comprehending it. Many try and many think they have succeeded, but the infinite can never be understood by the finite, so don't try. When you are ready, it will reveal itself to you. Meditation can never bring something to you that is not already fully present within you. The time has arrived for every serious spiritual student to accept that they already are it, and that meditation is simply time set aside to rest in this awareness until at some point meditation becomes a permanent state of consciousness and is simply lived. Withdraw from today's constant barrage of news and human opinions. It does not mean you cannot be informed, but rather means that you no longer choose to watch, listen, or engage 24/7 in the illusions of the three-dimensional world. Doing this constitutes a giant step for those accustomed to staying informed and giving opinions on everything happening in the three-dimensional world. When you align physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually with the good and evil of the world, you give power and reality to appearances which are manifestations of false beliefs with no real law to support them or hold them in place. When you make something a power, you give it substance, because energy is what maintains and sustains form. Every war launched on some disease, situation, or belief simply serves to create more of it, not less. Begin to translate all appearances into the reality that underlies them. War, oneness misinterpreted through beliefs of separation. Observe and do not deny the outer scene, but translate it through the realization that God never has, never will, and never can express itself as war, disease, pain, lack, etc. Trust, relax, and allow, through realizing that you never need to inform the infinite intelligence of your very own self what you need, because your conscious alignment with it will automatically express outwardly in ways that represent wholeness and completeness for you. Listen and rest within, often in the realization that it is always fully conscious of itself as you. We are the Arcturian Group.